Family Movie Night, where we'll be talking about what we watched for Family Movie Night. I'm Mike, and today we are talking about Mufasa the Lion King. This is the 2024 prequel, sequel-ish of The Lion King, the live-action one from 2019. It's only been 6 years. The premise of this is Mufasa, a cub lost and alone, meets a sympathetic lion named Taka, the heir to a royal bloodline. The chance meeting sets in motion an expansive journey of a group of misfits searching for their destiny. So we've got some familiar voices from the original Lion King movie, and then, well, no, not from the original movie, from the 2019 live action one. So we've got some familiar voices from the 2019 Lion King movie. So we've got Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner as Timon and Pumbaa. We've got Donald Glover and Beyonce for a brief spat, and then John Connie or Caney as Rafiki. But then the new cast that we have here. So we have Aaron Pierce or Aaron Pierre, no, Aaron Pierre as Mufasa, taking over for James Earl Jones, which that was a nice touch at the very beginning of the movie where they talk about James Earl Jones, and it's dedicated to him, so that was sad but also necessary. We've got Kelvin Harrison Jr. as Taka. We've got Tiffany Boone as Sarabi, or at least the younger version of. These are all the younger versions of the characters. We've got Kegaso Ladiga as young Rafiki, Blue Ivy Carter, who is Kiara, who is Nala and Simba's first daughter, and then Mads Mikkelsen as Kyros, who's the main villain of the movie. So this movie, to me, this is a sequel nobody asked for. However, there are some things that I will give this movie credit for. The first and foremost is that it's beautiful. It still looks beautiful. The animation's great, and what they do with the African landscape is really gorgeous as well. The other thing too is that I will give them a little bit of credit because I think they heard the note from everybody that said, "Hey, these animated lions, it's obvious they're CGI, but also they don't emote anything, so it kind of looks and feels a little bit weird." And yeah, that's a fair criticism, but I will give it that. But the main thing that I did somewhat kind of enjoy about this is this relationship between Mufasa and Taka. And at the end of the day, Taka becomes Scar. It just everything is choreographed and everything is telegraphed, or everything is telegraphed pretty much from the start that Taka is eventually going to be this person who's going to hold this grudge and resentment from Mufasa. But there's some pieces in here that I really enjoyed in terms of filling in some of the backstory. So, kind of just understanding a little bit more about the rift between Mufasa and Taka makes sense, and how Taka became Scar at the end of the day. Yes, he gets a scar. He scratches something so that he leaves scar marks so that other animals can track. But I think the big thing is where he learns some of this deceitful practices and why when he becomes king in the original Lion King movie, he's just making all of these wrong moves. And he learns that from his father, Obasi, who is played by Lenny James to perfection. I love Lenny James in just about anything. So where this actually gave got some points is this feels a little bit like, hey, toxic masculinity for kids to kind of learn some of these bad lessons from parents and just kind of deceitful practices. And then Kyros, who is played by Mads Mikkelsen, he is the main villain in this. He's also just teaching all of these, just the circle of life is a lie and it's ridiculous. So you couple all of that and you kind of understand how Taka becomes the way that he is. So this easily could have been also, and it is at times, a little bit of a, hey, here is where he met Zazu. Here is where Mufasa comes into Pride Rock. Here is just all of these little Easter eggs from the Lion King movies, which that could be a little frustrating at times. Plus, also, there's no stakes in this. We know that Mufasa eventually has to become king. We know Mufasa has to do a lot of these things. So again, this is where I'm wondering who asked for this movie? And I don't know. That's a good question. What I would have actually liked to see a lot more of is everything that happens in the present day with Kiara, because I think that character was really interesting. And short of us doing a Lion King remake, excuse me, or at least a Lion King 2 Simba's Pride Ryan, remake, which I'd be totally fine with if they did that. It's just a lot of rehash of, here are all the things that led us eventually to get to the point in the Lion King. But when Rafiki is telling the story to Kiara and Timon and Pumbaa are offering their commentary on things, I could watch those two give commentary all day on all of this. And Disney should take a hint from that and maybe have them do some of this stuff for Disney Plus content, because I think that they were great. They were really funny together. I had a lot of fun listening to them. Probably not the main intent or main takeaway for me as a parent to want to see those two more, but hey, I like what I like and I can't help it. So all in all, animation has, definitely improved. It's been 6 years since that. I was a little let down by the music since Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music. I thought the music was fine, but ultimately it was a bit of a letdown. And overall, this is a story that I'm just wondering who's asking for this, who's clamoring for this. Aaron Pierce or Pierre did as good of a job as you can do from Mufasa. He's not trying to replicate James Earl Jones, but he still has a presence about him, so I will give him credit for that. I do appreciate the fact that Disney went with the predominantly African American or a black cast, which I think is great because representation matters for sure. I'm just wondering where do we go next with all of this? Are we going to do a Lion Guard live action remake? Are we going to do a Lion King 1.5 remake? Because I am all here for that, but I I wasn't asking for this. I don't know a whole lot of people who are asking for this, and I'm glad I waited until this was on Disney Plus because I don't think that this was worth the cost of admission. So overall, this was the thumbs middle for me. The girls were entertained because they got to see all of the animals, so I give it points for that. And I give it points also for this end sequence where they say, like, hey, we're stronger when we do this together. So I guess I'll give it points for that too. But overall, this movie was perfectly fine. It was better than I expected, but I still didn't have very high expectations for it to begin with. So but that's going to do it for this episode of Family Movie Night. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew, wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky at SPDM Crew. Check out our website at SPDM Crew. Follow our list labeled Family Movie Night on our letterboxd at MLHilty2452. Shout out to HiFlyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. And if you have any marketing, logo, or brand standard needs, contact them at HiFlyerCreative.com. Check out the other shows on our network. We've got a ton of other ones ranging from movies, TV, physical media collections, comic books. We've got one launching soon on just making top 10 lists of things. We've got ones on trivia, on literature, different things like that. So check out the other shows on our network. Greatly appreciate the support. And finally, if you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at gmail.com. Until next time, happy watching, friends.